We've seen some good examples over the last year and the year before, I think. Private equity companies like Blackstone, like Arcon, but also King Street, they've bought portfolios in the Netherlands, buildings on more or less good locations, but with some vacancy, short lease lengths, etc. And they've all brought local asset management teams to Holland. And that's for a reason. They think they can, by actively managing these properties, add value to these properties. They fill up the vacancy, they renew the leases, they extend the leases, and hopefully are able to sell them within 1 or 2 years or so when the market is improving again. A good example for value add play, King Street recently acquired a big office complex at Sloterdijk. We've been marketing Sloterdijk for a while, that is the new market to improve in the Amsterdam area. What's happening in the Southeast Arena area will also happen in Sloterdijk. It has all the good qualities. It's great accessibility both by car and public transport. It's only lacking facilities at the moment, but that's changing as well. Quite some properties are being converted into other uses. We see hotels, residential there, but there are also coming shops and coffee corners. When that's changing, you'll see that tenants are moving in that area as well. King Street bought the LaGuardia property a couple of months ago, and it is a 60 square meter office building consisting of 4 towers, of which 2 towers were completely vacant. I think by the end of the year they've leased up approximately 10,000 square meters of that vacant space already, and that will continue in the next year. And that's by active managing these properties, creating more lively atmosphere, and the tenants will follow.
I fully agree, but then of course there are limits, because when you look at, when you have value add or opportunistic view on the office market, there's a lot possible, but you should really stay or stick to Amsterdam or maybe the center of The Hague and Utrecht. But that's the complete market there, because otherwise, in my opinion, there are no value-added opportunistic place which will be successful. So you can do it. So you can have an opportunistic or value-added view, but you should really stick to some limited markets.
Okay, good. Yep, go ahead, Thomas.
I think speaking much more from a psychological effect, I think after 7 years core fetishism, we have to maybe learn again what is risk. There might be a healthy risk scenario. It sounds all reasonable what we say, don't get me wrong. But I think the last 7 years bring us to a structural change into a non-risk environment within the real estate world on that. And again, the core things will go on, don't get me wrong. But I think, meanwhile, we have to ask, how can we create value to achieve 6, 7 or 8 something, which is in the world today, it's too risky, don't do that. But we have to do that. So there is not a question whether, it's a question we have to increase our risk activities within the next 1, 2, 3 years to set up a common goal or whatever you call it. That, because by the end of the day, with the 2 point something, you can't survive, realistically speaking, as a fund manager, whatever. In the short term, it's okay. The short term, maybe 6 years, okay. But in the long term, no way. Absolutely no way. We have to learn these things. And the simple, stupid question is, what is your asset management doing all the day? This is a typical question. It's not a challenge of fundraising business and all these things, what to do with the money. And then you have to tell the story, how can you create value? And I totally agree with that. It's for sure absolutely a convincing thing to do it in the city center or whatever with a traditional 10 years, blah, 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 these things, rather than in the middle of nowhere in the outskirts. But that's the only way, to be honest, dramatically speaking, where you can get a profit on the long term. Because all these pension funds, they promise me 4 point something when in 15 years when I go to pension, and these days they make around 1. So what about my 300 basis points they promised me? And this again, where I think we have to traditionally, rationally speaking, increase our risk curve dramatically in the next years.